Let's get one thing straight, money matters in life, but when it comes to love, connection, and lasting attraction, it's not the main thing. You've been sold a lie. A loud lie. That if you just get rich enough, drive a fast enough car, live in a big enough house, then you'll get the woman. The truth? Women want something deeper. Something real. Something men have forgotten how to give. So let me break it down for you. 1. Emotional safety trumps financial security. You can buy her dinner. You can pay her rent. But if she doesn't feel safe emotionally with you? If she feels judged, controlled, or silenced, she will never open her heart. Women long to exhale around a man. To relax. To not be on guard. When you make her feel like her emotions are welcome, like her words are heard without punishment, that is security. It's invisible, but it's powerful. Money might get her attention. But emotional safety will win her soul. 2. Presence is more powerful than presence. You can't swipe a credit card for presence. You can't finance focus. When a woman looks at you and sees your eyes locked on her, not your phone, not your watch, not your ego, but her, she feels valued. She feels seen. Your time. Your undivided attention. Your calm, rooted presence. That's intimacy. And no diamond can compete with that. 3. Leadership without ego is irresistible. Now hear me, women love a man who can lead. But not with a fist. Not with control. With vision and strength rooted in respect. Leadership isn't barking orders. It's being steady when things get chaotic. It's making tough decisions while still being compassionate. Women crave this type of leadership. Quiet strength. Assertiveness that doesn't trample over others. You don't have to be rich to lead, you just need to know who you are and where you're going. 4. Unshakable confidence wins respect and desire. Confidence is the currency of attraction. Not cockiness. Not flexing. But grounded, unshakable confidence that says, I know my value. I don't need to prove it. I walk in it. This kind of man doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He doesn't compete. And women feel it the moment he walks in. That kind of presence? It's magnetic. And no amount of money can fake it. 5. Vision and purpose light her soul on fire. Women want to follow a man with purpose, not just a paycheck. They want to feel like they're part of a story that's going somewhere. What are you building? What moves your soul? What pain are you healing in the world? A man with no vision is a man lost. And a woman knows, if you don't know where you're going, she won't feel safe going with you. Purpose is sexier than power. And direction is more attractive than wealth. 6. Emotional intelligence builds deep bonds. Here's the final truth, the men who master emotional intelligence are the ones women never forget. Because they feel her. They don't just react, they respond. They don't shame her feelings. They understand them. They know when to lean in. When to back off. When to listen instead of fix. That level of awareness creates intimacy few men can reach, and even fewer women want to leave. So, what do women secretly love more than money? A man who listens without defensiveness. Leads without arrogance. Protects without control. Loves without condition. And lives with direction. You don't need to be rich to be irresistible. You just need to be real. And when you become that kind of man, she won't just want you. She'll respect you. She'll trust you. She'll stay with you. Because she knows. That kind of man is rare. You can provide everything. The car, the house, the trips, the gifts. You can shower her with diamonds, fly her first class, take her to Michelin-starred restaurants. But if she doesn't feel emotionally safe with you, she will never fully trust you. She might stay. She might smile. But deep down, a part of her will always remain guarded, always scanning for danger, always asking, is it safe to be myself here? See, emotional safety isn't something you can fake. It's not something you can substitute with lavish spending or financial stability. It's invisible to the eye, but it's the very thing that determines whether a woman opens her heart or shuts it down. Whether she blossoms in your presence or withers quietly. Whether she softens into trust or hardens into distance. It's the feeling that says, I'm not going to be judged here. I'm not going to be punished for being vulnerable. I'm not going to be mocked for feeling deeply. I can finally rest. You may think your role is just to protect her physically or provide for her financially, but a far deeper need exists in every woman, the need to feel emotionally secure. That when she breaks down, you won't shame her. When she's unsure, you won't belittle her. When she speaks her truth, even if it makes you uncomfortable, you won't turn it into a battle of power and pride. Emotional safety is what allows her to stop performing, to stop editing herself, to stop wearing masks just to be enough for you. It's the green light that tells her, you're safe. You're accepted here, as you are. Most men don't realize this. They think the key to winning a woman is upgrading her lifestyle. So they hustle, grind, and stack their income, while their emotional intelligence remains bankrupt. They believe money will earn loyalty, respect, and love. But here's the cold truth. A woman might tolerate a life that's financially rich, but if it's emotionally cold, it'll drain her. It'll suck the light out of her. She'll find herself longing for something money can't buy, to be heard, to be understood, to be emotionally held. The way you listen to her matters more than what you buy for her. The way you speak to her in conflict holds more weight than how much you provide. The tone of your voice when she's emotional, the softness of your presence when she's hurting. These are the things she remembers. These are the things that make her stay when the world gets hard. You can give her everything in the world, but if she doesn't feel safe to cry in front of you, to be flawed in front of you, to share her insecurities and fears without you using them as ammunition later, then she will slowly pull back from you. She may not tell you why. She may not even fully understand why herself. But she'll feel it, and eventually, you will too. What creates emotional safety? It's consistency in your character. It's humility in conflict. It's not needing to win every disagreement, but seeking to understand her deeper. It's not reacting impulsively when she's triggered, but holding space for the storm and reminding her, even in silence, I'm not going anywhere. It's showing her that your love doesn't shrink when she's messy. That your masculinity doesn't get bruised when she's emotional. That you're strong enough not to fight her, but to fight for her. Women are intuitive. They can feel the tension in a room, the subtle withdrawal in your energy, the shift in your tone. And when you create an environment where her emotions are seen as a nuisance rather than a window into her soul, she begins to silence herself. She learns to hold back her tears, to fake smiles, to keep her thoughts to herself just to keep the peace. That's not love. That's emotional starvation. And no amount of luxury can fill that void. Real emotional safety is being her peace, not her war. Being her calm in the chaos. Being the place she runs to, not the place she hides from. And here's the paradox. When a woman feels emotionally safe, she wants to give you everything. Her loyalty deepens. Her femininity awakens. Her desire for you intensifies, not because you bought her something, but because you became someone. You became a man she could trust with her heart. And trust is more than being honest. It's being emotionally dependable. It's being predictable in your responses. It's her knowing that you won't flip on her when she's not perfect. That you won't withdraw affection when you're annoyed. That you won't manipulate her emotions to gain control. True trust is built when she realizes your presence doesn't come with emotional penalties. Some men mistake control for strength. They think dominance earns submission. But emotional safety isn't about dominance, it's about maturity. It's about being so grounded in yourself that her emotions don't threaten you, they invite you deeper into her world. When she cries, you don't fix, you feel. When she expresses frustration, you don't defend, you listen. When she opens up about her pain, you don't minimize, you validate. That's where the magic happens. She will never tell her friends, "He makes me feel so emotionally safe," in those exact words. But she will say things like, "I can be myself around him. I don't have to walk on eggshells. He gets me." And those words? Those are the language of a woman in love with a man who gives her something far more valuable than money: peace of mind. That is the secret. That is the game changer. That is what separates the man she dates from the man she stays with. The man who makes her feel safe inside herself when she's with him. The man who, without needing to say it, whispers to her with his presence. "You're safe now. I see you. I'm not going anywhere." And that is priceless. You could give her everything: the newest phone, the designer handbag, expensive perfume, shoes she's only seen in magazines. You could wrap each one in glossy paper, attach a heartfelt note, and deliver them with a big smile. And for a moment, she might be touched. She might even cry, especially if no one's ever done that for her before. But eventually, those things sit on shelves. They fade. They collect dust. Because what a woman craves far more than any gift is presence: your undivided, undistracted, and emotionally available presence. Presence is not just being in the same room. It's not just sitting across the table at dinner or scrolling your phone next to her on the couch. Presence is when you put everything else aside: the stress, the distractions, the ego, the need to impress, and you simply offer her your full attention. Your presence is your soul saying to hers, "You matter. Right now, there is nothing more important than you." And when a woman feels that you are actually with her, not just around her, she lights up in a way no gift ever could. There are men who don't realize this. They believe that money speaks louder than attention. That gifts will earn love where time won't. But they miss what presence actually provides. A woman doesn't want a transaction, she wants a connection. She doesn't need you to buy her the world, she needs to feel like she is your world in those intimate, irreplaceable moments. And the man who can give that, who can make her feel seen without being distracted, heard without being impatient, and valued without always needing to impress, is the man she remembers. The man she craves. The man she feels safest around. When you give her presence, you're not just showing up physically, you're engaging emotionally. You're reading between the lines, noticing the way her voice softens when she's tired, the way her eyes shift when she's worried, the pauses between her words when something's bothering her. You're listening not just to respond, but to understand. You're holding her hand not just as a romantic gesture, but to reassure her with your energy: "I'm here. I'm with you. I see you." Presence speaks a language words cannot. You can tell her she's beautiful, but if you never pause to really look at her when she walks into the room, the words lose weight. You can say you love her, but if you're constantly distracted, checking notifications, talking over her, or rushing through the moment to get to something else, she won't feel loved. Love is felt in presence more than it is heard in language. It's not that gifts don't matter. A well-thought-out gift can express care and love. But when gifts replace presence, they begin to feel like compensation. Like an apology for emotional distance. Like a substitute for intimacy. Women are intuitive. They can feel the difference between a gift that's wrapped in love and one that's wrapped in guilt or avoidance. You can't buy your way into her heart, you have to be there in a way that makes her feel like her heart is safe with you. Some men think that working longer hours, earning more, and providing more things is the ultimate way to love a woman. But many of those same men come home to cold dinners, distant glances, and quiet resentment. Not because their efforts weren't appreciated, but because their absence was louder than their efforts. She didn't need another gift. She needed him. His time. His focus. His eyes meeting hers without rushing. His energy grounded and available. His love expressed through attention, not just action. And what's most powerful about presence is that it doesn't require money, status, or performance. It just requires you. Fully showing up. Putting down the phone. Turning off the mental noise. Sitting with her, looking into her, and holding space for whatever comes up. Laughing with her in the silly moments. Being curious about her thoughts. Being gentle when she's vulnerable. Being silent when she just needs you to be near. That kind of intimacy can't be bought, it's cultivated through consistency, intention, and a decision to value her experience with you over everything else. Presence is healing. It tells her, without needing to explain, you're worth my time. You're worth slowing down for. You're worth being fully here. In a world full of distractions and superficial connections, that kind of attention is rare. And that rarity is what makes it powerful. When you become the one who listens when others ignore, who stays when others check out, who notices when others are too busy. That's when she attaches. That's when her heart anchors to yours. Not because of what you gave her, but because of what you gave up to be with her, your ego, your distractions, your rush. She will remember the night you stayed up just to talk more than the shoes you bought her. She will remember the way you listened when she was anxious more than the bouquet you sent the next day. She will remember how you looked at her, fully, with depth and peace, more than any date or dinner or fancy gift you ever planned. Because that's what nourishes a woman. That's what makes her feel safe, seen, and treasured. Presence is more powerful than presents because presents touch the surface, but presence touches the soul. One fades. One stays. One impresses temporarily. The other imprints permanently. And every woman, whether she says it or not, is longing for the man who will put the world aside to simply say with his heart, I'm here. All of me. For all of you. There's a surface-level confidence, the loud, performative kind, full of ego and bravado. It crumbles under pressure, collapses when it's not validated, and constantly needs approval to survive. And then there's unshakable confidence, the quiet strength that stays grounded in chaos, that walks into a room and doesn't need to announce itself because it feels undeniable. That's the kind of confidence that wins not only respect, but deep, lasting desire. When a man is truly confident, not just pretending, not putting on a mask, but truly rooted in who he is, everyone around him feels it. Especially women. She doesn't need to hear him say, I'm confident. She sees it in how he carries himself, in how he holds eye contact, in how he speaks with certainty and listens without insecurity. She sees it in the way he doesn't flinch when challenged, the way he doesn't chase approval, and the way he stands tall even when things go wrong. Unshakable confidence is not about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about not needing to compare yourself to anyone at all. That kind of confidence is deeply attractive because it brings peace. It calms the people around you. A woman feels safe in the presence of a man who doesn't second-guess himself with every move, who doesn't crumble under stress, and who doesn't lose his mind trying to please everyone. It tells her, you don't have to worry, I've got this. Not in an arrogant, controlling way, but in a centered, grounded, unbothered way. And in a world full of doubt, chaos, and emotional turbulence, that kind of stability becomes irresistible. Women are drawn to men who know who they are, not because it's flashy, but because it's rare. Most people are trying to become something. A confident man is something. He doesn't fake composure, he lives it. He doesn't need loud clothes, loud opinions, or loud actions to make a statement. His presence is his power. It's in how he walks. How he sits. How he pauses before he speaks. Confidence lives in the subtleties, and women pick up on those signals faster than words can deliver them. A confident man doesn't need to talk about what he's going to do. He just does it. He doesn't make excuses when he falls short, he owns it. He doesn't try to make everyone like him, he respects himself enough to stay authentic. And that authenticity? That's what makes people trust him. That's what makes a woman lean in instead of pull back. Because she sees that this is a man who doesn't shift based on the opinions of others. He's rooted. He's clear. He's focused. And when you're around someone like that, you naturally feel more secure. Confidence isn't loud because it doesn't need to be. The loudest one in the room is often the most unsure. Real confidence doesn't look like arrogance. It looks like calm. It sounds like clarity. It feels like presence. A man with unshakable confidence knows that the room will adjust to his energy, not the other way around. Ego reacts with anger when things don't go its way. True leadership pauses, reflects, and adjusts. Ego blames. Leadership takes ownership. Ego is fragile. Real strength is resilient. And women feel this difference in their bones. They know when they're dealing with a man who's leading from his insecurities versus a man who's leading from self-mastery. What makes leadership without ego so rare is that it requires a deep level of inner work. You have to know yourself. You have to be brutally honest with your own shortcomings. You have to let go of the need to always be admired and start focusing on being reliable. You don't manipulate people to follow you, you inspire them. You don't demand loyalty, you cultivate it through consistency. That's what real leadership looks like. A woman wants a man who can lead not just in the world but in their relationship. That doesn't mean making all the decisions or being the loudest voice. It means being emotionally intelligent enough to know when to step up, and wise enough to know when to step back. It means being the one who can say, let's not fight each other, let's fight for this. That kind of leadership calms storms instead of creating them. It brings clarity instead of chaos. It makes her feel like no matter what happens, she's on a team that won't fall apart under pressure. When a man leads with ego, the relationship becomes about hierarchy. Who's right? Who's in charge? Who gets the last word? But when a man leads without ego, the relationship becomes about harmony. It becomes a dance of mutual respect. He knows he doesn't have to overpower her to feel like a man. In fact, the more he empowers her, the stronger he becomes in her eyes. Because she sees that he's not intimidated by her power, he makes room for it. This is what makes women trust. This is what makes them let go, open up, and follow a man's lead, not because they're weak, but because they feel safe. Because they know that man isn't using leadership as a mask to hide his fears, but as a tool to build something greater than himself. His confidence doesn't come from titles or trophies, it comes from character. And when a woman sees that, her heart responds. Not with fear. Not with resistance. But with admiration, with love, with devotion. That's what ego-free leadership does. It doesn't demand loyalty, it earns it. It doesn't need applause, it earns respect in silence. And it doesn't lose its power when challenged, it becomes even more unshakable. Because real leadership is never about elevating yourself above others. It's about lifting others with you. And the man who understands that, and lives that, doesn't just lead in life, he leads in love. And that's the kind of leadership a woman will never forget. Confidence isn't just attractive. It's magnetic. It has a gravitational pull that draws people in without trying, without needing to prove anything, and without forcing attention. But not all confidence is created equal. There's a surface-level confidence, the loud, performative kind, full of ego and bravado. It crumbles under pressure, collapses when it's not validated, and constantly needs approval to survive. And then there's unshakable confidence, the quiet strength that stays grounded in chaos, that walks into a room and doesn't need to announce itself because it feels undeniable. That's the kind of confidence that wins not only respect, but deep, lasting desire. When a man is truly confident, not just pretending, not putting on a mask, but truly rooted in who he is, everyone around him feels it. Especially women. She doesn't need to hear him say, "I'm confident." She sees it in how he carries himself, in how he holds eye contact, in how he speaks with certainty and listens without insecurity. She sees it in the way he doesn't flinch when challenged, the way he doesn't chase approval, and the way he stands tall even when things go wrong. Unshakable confidence is not about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about not needing to compare yourself to anyone at all. That kind of confidence is deeply attractive because it brings peace. It calms the people around you. A woman feels safe in the presence of a man who doesn't second-guess himself with every move, who doesn't crumble under stress, and who doesn't lose his mind trying to please everyone. It tells her, you don't have to worry, I've got this. Not in an arrogant, controlling way, but in a centered, grounded, unbothered way. And in a world full of doubt, chaos, and emotional turbulence, that kind of stability becomes irresistible. Women are drawn to men who know who they are, not because it's flashy, but because it's rare. Most people are trying to become something. A confident man is something. He doesn't fake composure, he lives it. He doesn't need loud clothes, loud opinions, or loud actions to make a statement. His presence is his power. It's in how he walks, how he sits, how he pauses before he speaks. Confidence lives in the subtleties, and women pick up on those signals faster than words can deliver them. A confident man doesn't need to talk about what he's going to do. He just does it. He doesn't make excuses when he falls short, he owns it. He doesn't try to make everyone like him, he respects himself enough to stay authentic. And that authenticity? That's what makes people trust him. That's what makes a woman lean in instead of pull back. Because she sees that this is a man who doesn't shift based on the opinions of others. He's rooted. He's clear. He's focused. And when you're around someone like that, you naturally feel more secure. Confidence isn't loud because it doesn't need to be. The loudest one in the room is often the most unsure. Real confidence doesn't look like arrogance. It looks like calm. It sounds like clarity. It feels like presence. A man with unshakable confidence knows that the room will adjust to his energy, not the other way around. And a woman feels that in every interaction. She sees the way he doesn't flinch when she tests him emotionally, the way he holds his frame when others question his direction, and the way he continues to move forward even when others hesitate. It's easy to feel confident when everything's going right. But unshakable confidence shows up when everything's going wrong. It's in how a man responds to loss, to rejection, to failure. Does he fall apart? Or does he adapt, learn, and keep moving? Confidence isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting that, even when you don't, you'll figure it out. That trust in yourself radiates. It becomes a signal that others can follow. It becomes a beacon for the people around you. And for a woman, that confidence doesn't just make her feel attracted, it makes her feel safe. It makes her feel like she's with someone who won't fold under pressure, who won't abandon her in fear, who won't collapse when things get hard. Unshakable confidence also means emotional self-control. The man who can remain calm in the storm, who doesn't get reactive or petty, who doesn't need to prove himself through insults or dominance, that man shows true inner strength. Women are not drawn to men who explode in anger at every inconvenience or who crumble when things don't go their way. They're drawn to the man who holds his ground with grace, who doesn't take every challenge personally, and who can lead without needing to dominate. There's also a deep sense of attractiveness in the way a confident man navigates his purpose. He's not waiting for permission. He's not seeking constant validation. He moves with intention. He takes care of his body, his mind, his goals, not to impress, but because he respects himself. That self-respect sets the tone for how others will treat him. And for a woman, watching a man pursue his purpose with quiet intensity is one of the most powerful aphrodisiacs there is. Because it tells her, I have a direction. I have a mission. I have something bigger than just chasing attention. And nothing is more magnetic than a man on fire with his purpose. Confidence, when real, doesn't try to take power from others. It gives power. It uplifts. It leads without forcing. It embraces truth over comfort. It chooses growth over ego. That's what commands respect. That's what sparks desire. Because anyone can wear the costume of confidence, but only the man who has truly earned it can wear it like skin. In the end, unshakable confidence isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming sure of yourself even when you're imperfect. It's about standing in the center of who you are, flaws and all, and saying, I'm enough, I'm growing, and I'm not going anywhere. That presence, that energy, that certainty, that's what women feel. That's what women crave. That's what women respect. And most of all, that's what they desire. There's something deeply magnetic about a man who knows where he's going. A man who wakes up with fire in his chest, direction in his eyes, and conviction in his step. It's not about how much he earns, how many degrees he has, or how loud he talks about success. It's the inner fire, the kind that can't be faked. The kind that doesn't need applause. A man with vision and purpose is like a lighthouse in a storm. His clarity, his drive, and his refusal to drift through life aimlessly strike something primal in a woman. She may not even understand why, but she feels it in her bones. This man is going somewhere, and being near him makes her want to rise too. Most people wander. They react to life. They survive, not live. But a man with vision doesn't wake up wondering what to do with his day, he's already decided. His path might not be easy, but it's clear. He knows what he's building, what he stands for, and why he does what he does. And that certainty becomes irresistible. Because when a man is aligned with purpose, everything about him becomes more intense, his words carry more weight, his eyes hold more depth, his actions have more intention. He doesn't just exist, he moves like a force of nature. And that's what lights a woman's soul on fire. Not just the man who wants her, but the man who wants something more than comfort. The man who is led by something greater than pleasure or approval. He may want love, but love is not his final destination, it's part of the mission. His purpose comes first. And in that fierce devotion to his calling, he becomes more than just attractive. He becomes unforgettable. Because he isn't just looking for someone to pass time with, he's looking for someone who can walk beside him as he builds a life of meaning. Women are emotional creatures. Not emotional in the sense of weakness, but emotional in the sense of being attuned to energy, to direction, to substance. And when a woman meets a man whose energy is rooted in purpose, she feels safe. She feels inspired. She feels challenged in the best way. Because she knows that this man isn't drifting. He's not going to crumble when life gets messy. He's not going to chase distraction when he feels empty. He has a mission. And because of that, she can trust him. It's not about being rich. It's not about having all the answers. It's not even about achieving perfection. It's about waking up every day with your heart locked on something meaningful, something that stretches you, demands your focus, and requires your sacrifice. That focus becomes the structure around which a woman can soften. She wants to relax into a man who has direction. She wants to feel his purpose like a current she can flow with. Because when a man leads with vision, she doesn't have to carry the weight of the relationship alone. She can trust his leadership. She can trust his drive. She can feel safe in his ambition. There's a reason why women are turned off by men who sit around waiting for things to happen. It's not because they're shallow, it's because passivity signals danger. When a man has no vision, it's a sign that he's ungrounded. That he's unsure. That he hasn't faced himself. And if he doesn't have clarity in his own life, how can he create clarity in a relationship? Purpose is more than a career. It's more than a job title. It's an internal compass. A man can be a janitor or a CEO and still have purpose if he moves with pride, integrity, and direction. What matters is the fire inside him. And a woman can feel when that fire is real. That fire is what stirs something deep in her feminine soul. Because feminine energy is chaotic, creative, emotional, it's the storm. And it needs something steady, something clear, something rooted to dance with. A man's purpose gives her that grounding. It gives her something to admire. Something to trust. Something to believe in. Not because he demands it, but because he lives it. He doesn't preach about potential, he proves it in how he lives. And that consistency creates attraction that goes far beyond the physical. When a man lives on purpose, he doesn't waste time. He doesn't indulge in drama. He doesn't live in regret. He chooses discipline over distraction. Growth over stagnation. Courage over comfort. And that commitment inspires everyone around him. Especially the woman in his life. She watches how he handles setbacks. How he carries himself under pressure. How he keeps going even when no one is clapping. That quiet resilience? That sacred devotion to a mission? That's what makes her want to support him, respect him, and give herself fully to him. Because she sees that his life is not just about himself, it's about building something greater. Vision also creates leadership. And not the controlling kind. The kind that sets a standard. The kind that says, I'll go first. I'll face the fire. I'll take responsibility. A man like that doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. He creates them. He moves with purpose not only in his work, but in how he loves, how he listens, how he lives. He makes every moment mean something. And when a woman sees that, her heart can't help but respond. There's a deep, soul-level attraction that forms when a woman sees a man devoted to something that demands all of him. Because she knows that the same strength he brings to his purpose, he'll bring to her. The same focus, the same honor, the same fire. And she wants to be part of that fire, not to tame it, but to fuel it. She wants to be the one he chooses to share the journey with. Not because he needs her to fill a void, but because he's already whole, and together, they can build something extraordinary. That's why vision and purpose don't just attract a woman. They awaken her. They stir her soul. They make her feel like she's part of something divine. And in a world where most men are chasing distractions, the man who chases purpose becomes unforgettable. He becomes rare. He becomes the man she trusts. The man she desires. The man she would follow anywhere, because she knows he's going somewhere worth going. Emotional intelligence is the silent force that separates surface-level connection from soul-deep intimacy. It's the difference between a man who simply listens and a man who truly hears. It's the strength to pause before reacting, the maturity to own your emotional state, and the awareness to recognize the needs of the person across from you, even when they're not voiced. For women, emotional intelligence isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. It's what creates the space where she can exhale, take off her armor, and feel truly seen. Money can provide comfort. Looks can spark interest. But emotional intelligence builds the bond that lasts through storms. A woman doesn't just want someone who hears the words she says. She wants someone who can feel what she means, someone attuned to tone, silence, shifts in body language, subtle changes in energy. Someone who doesn't just ask, what's wrong, but knows how to ask it in a way that makes her feel safe enough to open up. That safety is gold. That emotional attunement is what allows her to feel connected, cherished, and respected, not just on her good days, but especially when she's vulnerable. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't see feelings as weakness. He sees them as data, signals that help guide how to love, how to lead, how to respond. He doesn't react blindly. He reflects. He doesn't attack when hurt. He communicates. And because of that, his presence becomes healing. He becomes the man she turns to when she's anxious, not the man she hides from. Because she knows he won't shame her for feeling deeply. He'll hold space. And that space builds trust. That trust builds desire. That desire builds a bond deeper than words. Most men have been taught to suppress emotions. To push them down, deny them, or mask them with distraction or aggression. But strength isn't emotional numbness, it's emotional mastery. The man who can name his emotions, stay present with them, and express them with clarity is a rare kind of strong. He's not thrown off course by fear or sadness. He's not trapped by pride or ego. He can hold his ground and still be soft. That balance between strength and sensitivity is intoxicating to a woman. Because it tells her she won't have to mother him emotionally. She won't have to walk on eggshells. She can be feminine, expressive, and open without being punished for it. Emotional intelligence allows a man to understand what she's really saying, even when she struggles to find the words. When she pulls back, he doesn't chase recklessly or get defensive. He leans in with presence and curiosity. When she lashes out from pain, he doesn't retaliate. He holds his frame, listens, and gently helps her return to calm. That calm is everything. It's what makes her feel secure in the relationship. It's what makes her want to stay. Because deep down, she's not looking for a man who never makes mistakes. She's looking for a man who knows how to repair, how to own his part, and how to reconnect after disconnection. Emotional intelligence also means being able to hold your own pain without projecting it. The man who can feel hurt without becoming cruel, who can experience rejection without turning cold, who can grieve without isolating everyone, this man becomes a pillar. His presence becomes emotionally reliable. And in a world full of emotionally unavailable or explosive men, he becomes the exception. That's the kind of man women crave. The one who can sit with discomfort without running. The one who can hold difficult conversations without shutting down or lashing out. The one who understands that intimacy is forged not in perfect moments, but in the messy, honest, raw ones. This level of emotional presence requires work. It requires self-awareness, humility, and a willingness to grow. But it pays off in relationships that feel alive, safe, and real. When a man brings emotional intelligence to the table, he allows a woman to relax into her femininity. She doesn't have to be in constant defense mode. She doesn't have to explain basic emotional needs. She feels felt. And when a woman feels emotionally understood, she becomes more affectionate, more loyal, more playful, more open. She thrives in that space because it gives her the freedom to express the fullness of her heart. That emotional bond transcends physical attraction. It becomes something spiritual. The woman feels like she's not just dating a man, she's being witnessed by a soul who honors her essence. And that changes everything. That kind of connection turns ordinary relationships into lifelong partnerships. It turns fleeting passion into enduring love. It creates a foundation that withstands the storms of life. Because when things get tough, emotional intelligence becomes the glue that holds two people together. It's what keeps the lines of communication open. It's what softens defenses. It's what allows forgiveness, growth, and evolution as a couple. An emotionally intelligent man isn't afraid of feelings, his or hers. He sees them as the roadmaps to deeper intimacy. He uses conflict as an opportunity to understand, not to dominate. He asks, "What can I learn here?" instead of, "How can I win this?" And that mindset makes him an incredible partner. Because he doesn't just aim to love, he aims to understand. He's not just there for the highs. He's present for the lows, with patience and grace. He shows up emotionally, not just physically. And that presence is what builds bonds that last decades, not just dates. So while money might open doors and charm might spark interest, it's emotional intelligence that sustains love. It's what makes a woman feel safe in your arms, but more importantly, safe in your heart. It's what makes her feel like she doesn't have to carry the emotional weight of the relationship alone. It's what makes her feel seen, not just for what she gives, but for who she is. And once she feels that, once she knows that her heart is held in steady hands, there's no going back. That bond becomes sacred. That connection becomes unbreakable. And the man who created that space? He becomes the one she never forgets. As we've seen, there's a deeper force at play in what truly captivates a woman's heart. It's not the dollar signs or the status symbols, those might catch her eye, but they don't capture her soul. What truly resonates with her, what lights her up and draws her closer, are the qualities that cannot be bought or flaunted. Emotional safety, presence, leadership without ego, unshakable confidence, vision with purpose, and the emotional intelligence to truly connect, these are the things that make her feel seen, understood, and cherished. These are the qualities that allow a relationship to flourish long after the initial sparks fade. These are the things that give her a sense of security, depth, and trust, allowing her to surrender her heart completely. And when she feels this deeply understood, this emotionally safe, this genuinely respected, money becomes a mere accessory, not the centerpiece of what she values most. So, if you're aiming to win a woman's heart, remember, it's not about how much you earn or what you can buy. It's about who you are when no one's watching. It's about the inner strength, the leadership, and the emotional depth you bring to the table. Those are the things that will make her not just want you, but need you. Because in the end, these qualities are priceless, and they're the ones that will make her choose you, not for what you have, but for who you truly are.